Welcome to Adobe InDesign CC. In this tutorial we're going to go over the basic introduction on creating a new document. So I have InDesign open, and this is sort of like the old welcome screen, and from here you can create new documents. You can open documents that you worked on recently. You can work on presets here. I mean, there's some options, lots of options here. You can also go to the file menu up here and go down to new and choose new document. So I'm going to click on that, and this is the new document window. You may have different measurements in here if you're under the print category here. If you go to web, it usually will default to pixels because web that's the unit we'll use. Same with mobile, which is the intent here. However, the print, you may have picas or points here. I'm going to show you how to change that measurement real quick. I'm going to cancel out here. So if you go under the edit menu and go down to preferences, the hotkey is Command K or Control K on a PC. You can open up preferences, and under let's see, units and increments here, you can set this to whatever you want. So by default this might be set to points and points here. And so what you do is click in here and choose whatever measurement you want. I'm going to choose inches for both of these and then just click OK. And now when I go File New, Document, or Control or Command N is the hotkey, by the way, I now have, as you can see, measurements here. So the first thing you're going to decide when opening up a new document is what kind of document. Are you going to choose something for the print, something that's web, or something for mobile? We're going to choose something web here, but you want you to notice as you select web and mobile, it goes to pixels here. That's very important because for the web, that's what pretty much you deal with, or mobile. Notice the mobile, you have also these presets. So there's lots of cool presets here depending on what kind of mobile device you're setting it up for. If you're setting up for the iPad or iPad Retina, you have that option right there. So let's go to print, and in here you can see we have 8.5 by 11, which is letter size. If we switch it to legal, you'll see as I click out that it changes to the 8.5 by 14. If I switch to tabloid, it's 11 by 17. So it's given the different measurements there. If you check the little preview box down here, what's kind of cool is it'll show you a preview of this actual document over here on the right. So I can swap to any of these and actually choose just based upon looking at it and go, oh yeah, that's the one I want. I want the letter size. You can also choose orientation. So right now it's the vertical portrait orientation, but you can choose the horizontal landscape orientation, and all you gotta do is click on these little widgets here for that. So the next item is columns. Columns are essentially, if you think of like a Roman column, it's how you divide up the document. Right now it just has the one column here with a gutter spacing here, which is the gutter is basically the space between the column. And if we add 2 columns or 3 columns, now you can start to see the divisions. So here's the gutter, this little space in between. It's not this outside area. This outside area is known as the margin, which is the next area down here. So you can increase the gutter by just clicking in here if you want larger gutters or smaller, like you want a 1/4 inch here. And down here in the margin area, you'll notice that right now they all have the same measurements. So if I click on one and change it, they're all changing at the same time. It's very important to understand that. The reason why is because this little link here. So if I uncheck that, say I want the top to have a bigger margin, well, I can click in there and have an inch margin up here. Maybe on the inside I want an inch margin, so now I have that. Or maybe at the top I want an inch and a half or something like that, or inch and a quarter, and maybe on the bottom I want an inch. So it's really cool to be able to select all of these and change them on the fly. Let's open up the bleed and slug area. So the bleed and slug has to do with images for printing. So if you're going to leave it on the web, this document, you're not going to have to worry about the bleed or slug area. This is only for print, but essentially the bleed area. So if we had a photo up against the edge and you took it to a commercial printer, or even your printer at home, what will happen is the trim area would literally cut off, and it might shift slightly to the left or slightly to the right, and you might get a little white line around it. So typically what we do is we add a bleed in here. So if we add a 0.2, for example, bleed, you'll see here that the bleed now extends out. Now, so if we add a document in here, an image, what we'd want to do is have it go outside that area a little bit, and then if it gets trimmed, it will always be in there. Pretty cool, right? Now, what happened? I accidentally hit enter return, so oh no, I can't modify my document. Oh yes, you can. So under the edit menu, you'll go down to, or I'm sorry, on the file menu, you can go down to document setup. And look at that, there's your document. So the same information is right here. So we can change things on the fly here. So we can add the slug, by the way, that's same thing as a bleed, but it gives the printer some information that gets printed off, that gets cut off, but basically you don't need to worry about that there. Let's see. And so anytime you want to change things, you can always come in here and change it on the fly. Even the margins, which is not in here, you can change later on. I'll show you in another tutorial how to do that. But yeah, essentially you can always cancel out. You can collapse this guy, don't save it, and then basically start over again. This time I'm going to hit the hotkey of Control N or Command N and open up a new document. And again, it's showing a preview here. So if I uncheck that, it'll kind of do that. Looks like, yeah, I can check the preview there and switch to, say, a tabloid or a legal. I think I'm going to go with a tabloid size here, 11 by 17. The facing pages is really important. So if you want just one page, you'd put one. You wouldn't have to worry about this. But if we have more than one page, which we don't have to necessarily put in here, you can add pages later on. You can add 2 pages or 4 or whatever. I'm going to add 2 here. And everything else I'm going to leave at the default settings here. I may add a slight bleed here of 2 and then click out. And that's 2 inches. I meant to do 0.2. Yeah, there we go. And then go ahead and click OK to accept, and voila. Now it looks like we only have one page, but if you scroll down, you'll see there's a second page right there. And you can access them just by clicking on the next spread button right there. Yeah, and you can also click in here and choose the one. So that's the basic overview of creating a new document in Adobe InDesign. We're going to get into all the features in future tutorials. I just want to share with you the incredible flexibility and power of creating new documents. And of course, under Control K or Command K on the Mac, you can open up the preferences and always change your units and increments for the spread. By the way, if you change these and save it out, the next time you open up a new document, it'll show up in those particular measurements. So until next time, see you soon in Adobe InDesign. Cheers.